Joining me now, former EPA Chief of Staff and Independent Women's Forum Senior Policy Analyst, Mandy Gunasekara. Mandy, great to see you tonight. When we talk about nuclear energy, people don't realize how inexpensive it is on a relative basis. And they think about disasters like 3 Mile Island that we've seen in the past. We've come a long way since then with respect to the technology and the safety. And so many people are saying in this environment right now, to secure our power grid, we need nuclear energy to keep America safe and also make sure that we have the resources that we need. Now, Jeff is reporting that both sides of the aisle agree with this, but I think the Democrats certainly could be doing more on energy in general. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you, Jackie. And the fact that we're in an energy crisis to begin with is embarrassing. But when it comes to nuclear, it is an absolute no-brainer. And the only thing standing in its way is a group of activists and bureaucrats. And if they would get out of the way, we are in a position to take advantage of this technology that has seen major advancements in recent years, making it the most safe, most efficient, and cleanest source of energy that could literally power thousands of homes to so many people at an affordable cost. Again, if only the bureaucracy and activists would get out of the way.
Yeah, and energy costs right now are a huge concern for people across America. It's not just prices at the pump, but winter's coming. We're in cooling season right now on the East Coast here. And so, I get these emails all the time from Con Ed, how to reduce your energy bills, this is why we're hiking up your bill. People are sick and tired of it, and they want a president, a leader in charge who's listening to them and saying, we're going to put America first. We're going to make sure we're energy independent. Somebody did do that. Somebody in charge now is not doing that.
Yeah, we all reaped the benefits of a president who trusted our U.S. energy workers to produce energy in a safe and affordable manner. And the benefit of that was we all had access to reliable, affordable energy, and we were in a position to export that to the world. Unfortunately, President Biden from day one has invoked an all-out assault on U.S. energy resources and refuses to use the abundant energy sources upon which we have been blessed. And he refuses to accept the reality that the technology we have at our disposal, whether it's advanced nuclear, advanced gas, advanced coal, we have this available today that he could unleash and provide real relief to the American people. But he hasn't come around to doing that to date. And unfortunately, I don't think he will in any time in the future.
Mandy, what's so ironic to me is the fact that you look at who really are the biggest culprits of global pollution. And I would say China and India are #1 on the list. And they're doing nothing to even make the technology that they're using right now cleaner, safer, whatever. And so you've got an administration that's going all the way left on this policy, not recognizing the fact that the strides that we've made here in the United States, and I'm grouping all the energy together because it's true, whether it's oil and gas, whether it's natural gas, whether it's nuclear, even our coal power plants are functioning in a cleaner way. If you want to get the energy, anywhere, the best place to get it is here. It is cleaner, it is safer. And, our moving all the way to the left and that part of the agenda isn't going to get China to stop polluting or get India to stop doing it.
No, it's not. And it's going to wreck our economy in the process. And that's what Americans are dealing with today. They've become a member of things like the Paris Climate Accord, which is a really bad deal that sells out the American economy and the American worker to places like India and China that are not serious about growing their economies alongside environmental protection. Look, when I was at the EPA, we broke all sorts of records, and we know how to grow the economy and improve the environment at the same time. We do it better than anyone else in the world. And if this president would embrace that reality, we would all be in a much better position.
Great to have you on tonight, Mandy. Such wonderful insight, and I agree with you. I wish he would embrace it. I think a lot of other people do as well. Great to have your thoughts with us tonight. Thank you.